Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your no shorty. We're not going to do a regular review today. This is not an issue 1 start of a series. It's actually issue 1100 of Detective Comics. And I don't usually do stuff like this. Occasionally I'll find a trade that's really blown me away or an original graphic novel. It's unusual something like this to do it, but I kind of picked it up based on one of my customers' recommendations, or at least him being very, very excited about it. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's check it out. And honestly, it's brilliant. There's 4 stories. Every single one of them is spectacular. I do have one which is like, not absolutely my favourites, but only by marginal kind of stuff. And I'm not usually the kind of guy who likes rating things that way. Like, give me a list of stuff and I'll tell you what my favourite is. The only time in my life I've ever found it easy to name my worst is the albums of Iron Maiden, because Virtue 11 sucks. But it is worth pointing out that the only one that wasn't absolutely, oh my god, fantastic, amazing, was still really, really good. Mariko Tamaki, fantastic writer. She's done Detective Comics before, and it's only because she's the one who kind of goes route one with her story, which is just looking at the idea between of the dichotomy between Bruce Wayne and Batman, and how both of them, kind of in their own way, although yes, technically one person, approach problems differently and solve things differently. Both sides of the personality understanding that there's other ways of doing it and there might be better ways, but understanding that all they can do is keep trying. And it was a nice little story and very well drawn, but it's the one that was like the most kind of basic. But all the others were brilliant. And I'm going to go straight to the top half of my next one. It is the last one in the series by Dan Waters, Bill Sienkiewicz. And Dan Waters is fast becoming one of my favourite writers. The fact that, like, year and year now, he's been in my best of the year list and does an awful lot of stuff which, if doesn't quite make it to the top of the pile, is still fantastic and worth checking out. This one issue does a really, really nice bit of very tight storytelling over just one single point, which is something which anyone who's got a vague interest in physics and has watched an action movie will be aware of. This idea of somebody falling off a roof, somebody else jumping off them and trying to catch them on the way down, thinking of stuff like wind resistance, and terminal velocities and mass compared to size and all these kind of things to determine like if that would be possible or not. And this is done from the very, very calculating mind of Batman as he's trying to do this. But it is also genuinely terrifying, captivating story, beautifully done by Sienkiewicz, has an amazing pacing for a very small story, and is just a standout look at just a brief moment in the life of somebody like the Batman. Also on the pile, we have Tom Taylor, who's the lead writer on Detective Comics in a moment, and he does the kind of story which made him a huge name from Nightwing, which is basically take a nice, cool concept for something, make it visually outstanding with the use of a fantastic artist, and just a really nice, heartwarming, very, very fun, easy to read kind of story. And this is a story of somebody who's lost their dog, and he is mute, cannot speak, maybe deaf as well, I don't know. But it means none of the comic has any conversation between characters in either American Sign Language or just written down or signalling. And it is a very nice concept. It's got such a fantastic pacing to it, really, really good dynamic artwork, and then the little ending beat is beautiful. And then my second favourite of them, this one is a Greg Rucka book, and he's got, like, a bit of game when it comes to writing superhero stories, particularly Batman, I think. And he does one which I think it works for me because not only is it brilliant artwork, I'm check the name here, Martinez Bueno, the guy who does the art for Night House by the Sea and Lake. His art style is brilliant, all immaculately hand done, beautiful colouring on it. Plays around with silhouettes, darkness and shadow, lightness, richness. It does everything I want artistically, but the story is fantastic because everything else has been going on in the series. We get this idea from people who have to live in Gotham City that Batman actually is, on balance, a forceful good, as in less harm is caused when he's around than when he isn't. It's just one metric of looking at this kind of thing, but it gets to the heart of it because it's two people working the midnight shift of an ER, and these are people who've spend their nights dealing with people coming in with lacerations and concussions and broken bones and contusions. But unlike the years before Batman was on the scene, when it was called the Knife and Gun Club, the name of the strip, it was a hell of a lot worse. And it is, yeah, it's a simplistic way of looking at it, but it does cut to the quick quite effectively in terms of what matters to the people who have to exist in Batman City. Yes, there's a whole bunch of conversations to be had, some good faith and bad faith about surely Bruce Wayne would be better doing other things with his money than becoming a vigilante. But we're talking a difference between a world where there is masked adventurers and superpowered villains compared to one where what you actually just need is an awful lot of money and control coming from governments and organisations to actually tackle the root causes of crime, and that doesn't make for a very exciting comic book. So here we just get at least a show that it is worth him doing it, and I think that's good, and it looks brilliant, and it's really well written. All in all, like, no bad story. Even the one that isn't as good as the ones is still great. I mean, honestly, if you've been thinking maybe jump onto Batman with the new issue 1 starting soon, and your local comic book store has a spare copy of this one, just pick it up. You don't need to know much else what's going on. You can just enjoy it for what it is. That's it for me for now, though. Until I see you all again, look after you, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!